From the banks of the Mississippi to the peaks of the Smokies, this is the home field of champions.
Andre Holloway to Stanley Morgan.
And so, holds it down. Nobody can catch him. Reggie White penetrated.
Touchdown, Heath Gillis. James Stewart.
Standing on the naked handoff.
Peerless Price.
Travis Henry scores for Tennessee.
More than 75 years of broadcast excellence. We are the Vol Network. What happened this weekend? What lies ahead? Analysis and insight from the inside. This is Big Orange. Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
This is Big Orange Rewind. With the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, and VolQuest.com's Brent Hubbs.
Glad to have you with us. Off weekend for the Vols, and yet work to be done as they get ready to get back at it tomorrow. Volunteers getting ready for an Arkansas team that has an interim coach, has a interim defensive coordinator who's done it before, and now they get ready to take on a team that beat them last year, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Tennessee now 12th in both polls, and the Volunteers a heavy favorite to knock off Arkansas. But the unknown coming out of Fayetteville, where they also had a bye weekend, makes you very nervous.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question about that. And if you needed any understanding of the challenges of that, you look at what happened in Los Angeles yesterday with UCLA and Penn State. I think anytime you go through a situation like this, it's hard on the student athletes at the place that loses their coach initially. And then there's a bit of a liberation, if you will. Just kind of cut it loose and go play. And that's what we saw yesterday with UCLA against Penn State. And so if you're Tennessee, you know you're going to get that to start the game. Now, if you can jump on them, you can silence it, and you can knock it out pretty early. But the longer they hang around, the freer they're going to play, and then you find yourself certainly in a ball game. The unknowns are always hard. The other thing you learned yesterday, too, and we know it, is it's just hard to win on the road, man. I'm just telling you, road wins are hard. You see it across the country every week with everybody. But for Tennessee in this matchup, the unknowns is certainly something you have to try to manage and figure out along the way.
Yeah, Mississippi State certainly had a difficult time in the second half at Texas A&M. That was a 7-3 game at the half. Ends up 31-9 Aggies. And so they get a big victory, and that's a good one for them. Florida knocks off Texas 29-21. A lot of questions about where Texas is right now at 3-2. Alabama wins the second half 9-0. They outgained Vanderbilt by a significant amount, but Vanderbilt just kept hanging in there, wouldn't go away until right at the end. And then they did add another touchdown to make it 30-14, but the game was not a full 2-touchdown game. It was really a 23-14 game.
Yeah, it certainly was. Georgia taking care of business at home against Kentucky, and Oklahoma having no trouble with Kent State, obviously, in winning that game. So, again, I think you're a month in, and you're sitting here asking the question you were asking a month ago, and that is, who's elite? Who's really good? Who has separated themselves in the SEC? Who's separated themselves nationally that you say, well, they're the best team in the country. This is the best team in that league. I think you can make that case. You can debate it a lot in the SEC, Mike. I think you can debate it in the Big 12. I think you can debate it in the Big 10 with their top two teams. I don't know that anybody is just far and away dominant. And I think that's where college football is, and that's the beauty of college football. It's what makes every Saturday fun.
If you're Tennessee, you've got to like your position right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're disgusted with yourself because you didn't win the Georgia game at home.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, I get that.
Right.
But you're 4-1. You're still very much in the chase as we start to move toward the middle part of October. You take care of your business this week, you're 5-1 on the way to Alabama with a chance to get a significant victory, which would certainly make you a top 10 team at that point.
No doubt. And what did we say after the Georgia game? Tennessee will be favored in a lot of games down the stretch.
Sure.
Tennessee can win every game that they're going to play down the stretch. Tennessee could lose multiple games that they're going to play down the stretch. That's the parity that's in this league right now. So, no, by no means Tennessee's in a good spot. They're not out of it, and they still have some, quote, wiggle room if you look at it that way. It's a little too early to dive into all the playoff chatter and anything like that. You just got to go be yourself and go continue to play and get better. And I think that's Josh Heupel's message to his team.
Well, you're in a position, even though you've lost a conference game, you still have a chance to be in the SEC race, and you still have a chance, a very viable chance, if you take care of your business, to make the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm. And this league's going to beat each other up.
Sure.
They're going to beat each other to. Look at the slate of games next week or this coming week, right? Okay. Now everybody's going to go. Oklahoma's going to walk all over Texas because what Texas did. We've seen the Red River rivalry. We know what happens in that game. There's no lay down there.
Well, let's take it
okay.
time forward.
You want to do that?
Alabama at Missouri is the noon Eastern game. Missouri's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
That game is in Columbia, Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Do we know what Missouri is yet?
No, I don't think we do. I think that's a win for Alabama that's an early game. I think on the road you like playing early games rather than late games, in terms of a night game. But, I think Missouri's getting good quarterback play. I think the key thing in this game is you have two quarterbacks who are playing well. Now, Missouri's quarterback's not been tested as much as Ty Simpson's been tested. Alabama's feeling much better about Ty Simpson because of what he did on the road against Georgia and kind of the way his game is rounding into shape. But that's a good quarterback matchup between those two guys.
Washington State at Ole Miss is 12:45 Eastern. That should be an Ole Miss win.
It should.
Oklahoma, Texas, 3:30 game. Who knows?
Well, that game's always good. That game's just weird. There's all kinds of – it's a rivalry game.
But John Mateer's not playing in that game. Texas is coming off a bad loss. And so –
here's the thing about Texas that is – in watching them yesterday, there's a lot of discussion about Arch Manning, and rightfully so. Okay, Arch Manning was anointed everything in the offseason. He was the man, the whole 9 yards. And they're looking at that record, and they've lost 2 games, both of them on the road. Arch Manning's not putting up big numbers, and you say, they got issues in the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They have a hard time blocking and protecting. How does Steve Sarkisian speed up things for his quarterback? How does he get the ball out of his hand quicker? They're having a hard time with 7-step drops right now.
Well, he's getting hit hard.
A lot.
And the ball where he missed the deep receiver, and everybody said that's a walk-in for a touchdown if it's an accurate throw. He got absolutely waylaid on that. So to your point, because you'd said that before about Texas's offensive line issues, and what I saw, I was like, well, the two things certainly go together.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not having good offensive line play, a lot of times your quarterback can be erratic.
Well, and what you wonder is a young quarterback, and let's face it, he's still young. Does his eyes start to drop because he's, I don't want to say seeing ghosts, but he's been hit a lot. He's facing pressure down. All of a sudden, does his eyes drop down? He's not seeing the field the way he needs to see the field because there's people at his feet all the time, or there's somebody hitting him square in the jaw a whole bunch. So you wonder about that with a young quarterback. I think anytime you're playing a young quarterback, you want an offensive line that can help him out. And Texas's O-line is not helping Arch Manning out enough. Arch's got to play better. I'm not saying that. But he's got to have some help up front more than he has right now.
Arkansas, Tennessee is 4:15 Eastern, 1:30 airtime on the Vol Radio Network for Brent Hubbs, Jason Swain, Larry Stone, and Ramon Foster for Big Orange Countdown. We're on the air at 2 o'clock on the Tennessee Valley Sports Network with Volunteer Game Day presented by Rackley Roofing. So on TV and on radio next Saturday. Florida at Texas A&M is the 7 o'clock game. Can Florida follow it?
Florida's good defensively.
Right.
They are. It's about the quarterback. It's about what they get out of their quarterback. I mean, where are they in Baton Rouge if he doesn't throw 5 interceptions? They got a chance to win that football game. I'm not buying the whole. Well, he had a look in his eye this week or whatever Billy Napier said leading up to that game. But quarterback play was better. But who did they beat? Right? Did they beat a really good team? I mean, listen, a lot of people thought that was going to be Texas being able to kind of put it all together against a team that was struggling. Give Napier
and put him away.
Yeah, give Billy Napier credit. His team got off the deck and played.
Well, just like last year.
Yeah, they played.
I mean, he was done. Remember?
Oh yeah,
he was done.
I'm not sure the Florida fans are exactly parading the streets over it because a lot of people are done with him.
But
here we go.
I mean, but it would make sense if from here they end up 8-4.
Yeah,
because that's how the script has gone for them at this point, which puts Scott Strickland in a really weird position with Billy Napier because you're basically where you were a year ago, and this was the year you thought if it's going to happen, it needs to happen. And maybe it still will. Who knows?
I think that matchup is about whichever quarterback's hot.
Right.
Because Marcel Reed is a talent, a young talent who's developing. He has moments where he gets 3 or 4 possessions in a row, and he looks like he is all world. And then he has moments where they'll go 3 or 4 possessions, and nothing seems to be working offensively.
You know Mike Elko is going to have something wacky for DJ Lackman.
Mm-hmm. I think both those teams are really good on the defensive side of the ball, so which quarterback can manage it?
Georgia at Auburn, 7:30 Eastern Time.
I think all the pressure's on Georgia here. I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure on Auburn because Auburn's had this rough. I mean, they played at A&M, they played at Oklahoma. Now they get a home game. Here's a Georgia team that's slow out of the gates, seemingly every week. Georgia's good. Where Georgia's not elite as they have been in the past, they're not elite in the back end.
But Hugh Freeze is historically good in this type of game.
Historically good.
Why it is, who knows, but he's got these little moments where he can get something going. He sometimes has trouble with the 3-foot putt.
He does.
And that's
but the double breaker's not too bad.
The double breaker on 12 at Augusta, I mean, that's the one he makes. We'll see. South Carolina at LSU, too.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a good bit of football Saturday, which was good. I've kind of gone back and watched as much as I could. I won't say dumbfounded. It's a bad word. I'm perplexed by quarterback play in college football right now. Look at it from a draft perspective. If you're an NFL franchise looking for a quarterback, do you have anybody that you go, oh man, that guy's a franchise. Nobody just wows me at the quarterback position.
The guys who are having problems are the guys who are back for a second and third year in some cases because I think teams have made adjustments to them.
Yeah, maybe.
In a strange way, I think Tennessee might have an advantage with Joey Aguilar because he's a guy that hasn't been seen as much. I mean, to a certain extent, Diego Pavia has had a hard time. I mean, they didn't throw the football very well in that game, and that's not really all that Vanderbilt does. Mm-hmm. But, we'll see the rest of the way. I mean, Alabama had a good answer for him in the second half.
They did.
He did not look elite or anywhere close to it. I mean, he was confused at times, and, they had some chances to make plays. Vanderbilt had a real shot in that ball.
They did. I mean, that's a Vanderbilt team that's more than just Diego Pavia.
Well, they've physically gotten it straight.
Yeah. They are a team
but
better.
That's also Clark Lee having the time. I go back to the Bobby Johnson analogy when he was there. Bobby Johnson left James Franklin a very good program because he was given time to build it.
Yeah. And he built it with a clear vision of what he wanted.
Well, but you got guys in the strength program, and you've got the same strength coach, and you've got the same coaches, and you've got guys have a chance to develop, and because they've had a chance to do that under Clark Lee, and oh, by the way, now they've gone out and gotten a couple better guys at spots, and so they've got a little bit going.
They do. I'm just. I look at, Nussmeier, maybe he's banged up. There's a lot of talk about him being hurt. I think he's been inconsistent compared to what a lot of people thought he would be. I'm just quarterback playing college football right now is, again, I think it's perplexing. I think them guys, the kid at TCU, I think is a good player at quarterback.
Look at Ty Simpson, first year as a starter. Look at Gunnar Stockton, first year as a starter. I think it's an interesting thing to kind of weigh some of these guys coming in, and they're operating their coach's system very well in most cases.
Well, here's the other thing too, and this is a jumping off point. Neither one of us probably thought we were going to start this show. How much does the in-helmet communication with a coordinator or head coach to the quarterback help the young quarterback, first-year starter, manage the game better? Do you talk less to a guy who's a 3 or 4 year starter, and all of a sudden he's gone from coaches telling me with 15 seconds to go, hey, look right flat here, look this here, and now you got a guy who they're helping him process. Does that make a difference?
I think it's there, and I think the other part of it too is you look at the skill people around them. In some of the cases with the quarterbacks, South Carolina changed offensive coordinators. Some of their skill people are gone as well, and it is such a bigger pro model towards the skill players than it was 10 years ago.
Explain.
Guys have to make reads. Guys have to do certain things because certain things have developed. The high school and the college game has moved into the NFL. You see a lot of the play calls and a lot of the formations look the same. The college part or the pro part has sort of eased its way back into college because some of these guys want to take it up a step where it's not just, hey, I'm the ex-receiver, I'm going to run a post. It's like, oh, I have to make a read now.
So it's a choice route.
Right.
So I'm making a decision based on what the safety does.
And guess what? Jimmy Smith, who's on his – not Jimmy Smith of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's a really good player, but Jimmy Smith, fake name there, he's on his fourth college – with his fifth different coordinator, or he's some freshman out of high school where all he did last year is, I'm the ex-receiver, I run a go every time. It's a different – knowing where to expect people is a big part of it as well.
So you're saying your belief that the second-year jump, the second-year emergence for some guys is real just because – they now understand the choice stuff that you're talking about. Because look at Tennessee's receivers. Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, all in their second year in the program.
Well, I mean, let's say it. All the stuff about Staley and Matthews last year, and why weren't they playing, and why wasn't this happen? Matthews especially is the real example. Well, they clearly weren't playing because they weren't on the same page with the quarterback within the offense because, guess what? They're freshmen. Mm-hmm. They look great making one-handed catches out at practice and things like that and in scrimmages and things of that sort. But now all of a sudden you have to translate it, and the coaches are not going to put you out there if you can't show in practice that you're running the right pattern and running the right play. Well, now they know what to do. And so guess what Mike Matthews is doing? He's playing fast.
Right.
I mean, he is playing real. Braylon Staley, I love that guy. I love what he brings in the slot because he's not that teeny-weeny slot guy. I mean, he's got some power to him, and he's got run after the catch, and Andy can get deep. And then Brazzell is elite size, length, has that kind of speed. And you said it well. When you were talking about it last week, he was not that big always, and so he knew how to run some of those choppy routes from being a slot himself.
Well, and, if you go back and if you haven't seen it, you can go to YouTube and listen to your interview with Colton Hood on the Mike Keith Show from Thursday.
For the plug. Thank you.
I've done this a time or two.
Thank you.
He mentions Brazzell, and one of the things he talks about is his route running ability.
Right.
And kind of echoing – he knows better than me, but kind of pointing out, that guy's not just this long, straight vertical guy. He can do so much more. I think it's interesting the number of second-year guys, that around the country are kind of stepping out there and get going. I mean, I think the balancing act for coaches on how much you do versus how little you do, and where's that blend between the two? Keep it simple versus, hey, we can really grow, because at some point you can clutter the mind with too much stuff.
Sure.
And so did UCLA get a help because they did simpler stuff yesterday against Penn State, for example? I think that's one of your concerns if you're Tennessee about Arkansas defensively this week. They got a week to get ready.
Right.
So what are they going to do? Well, it's not going to be all crazy exotic stuff probably. There'll be some of the stuff they've been doing, but what are they going to do to let their guys play faster?
Well, let's talk about that when we come back. Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Your text questions at 865-657-1278. And we'll talk about Arkansas's interim defensive coordinator and what his history is when we return.
Big Orange Rewind.
Sponsored by First Horizon. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life.
By the natural gas utilities and pipeline companies in Tennessee.
Natural gas.
Pilot, the official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. RJV Kubota, with 2 convenient locations in Knoxville and Nashville. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
Vol Nation, if you're looking for quality performance apparel, look no further than Turtleson. Founded by UT alumni out of Bristol, Tennessee, Turtleson designs clothes and accessories that fit your lifestyle. From the office to the country club or the Tennessee Volunteers tailgate, Turtleson has the apparel that looks as good as it feels. Ask for Turtleson wherever you buy your volunteer gear or visit turtleson.com to learn more. Turtleson is a proud sponsor of the Vol Network. Go Vols!
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouth-watering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve ball fans since 1983.
Here's a fresh twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Big bank expertise and small bank savvy. All the resources to help you reach your dreams.
And the personal touch to keep you smiling all along the way. That's First Horizon Bank, the official bank of the Vols.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit RJV Kubota locally in Knoxville or Nashville. RJV Kubota, a proud supporter of the Vols.
The Big Orange Rewind continues, presented by Calhoun's.
865-657-1278 for your questions. We've got a bunch of good ones. You ready to go, Hubbard?
Let's do it.
Dawn from Franklin, could you give a current injury update for the Vols?
Well, the good news is I think David Hobbs is going to be back in some capacity this week. I think they'll get him for the first time. Will he be on a snap count? Maybe. We'll see. But I do expect him to be on the practice field this week and continue to work his way back. He's kind of announced that himself on his Instagram page. But he's going to be available to some degree. The open date came at a really good time for Tennessee. And you go, oh, well, every coach says that. But it would have been interesting to see what that offensive line would have looked like, because Sam Pendleton, ankle sprain, Jesse Perry, ankle sprain. Both those guys basically shut down last week just to heal up. I think both will be okay for this game, but They would have been question marks last week. I think they'll be fine this week. Everybody wants to know about Jermod McCoy. I don't think there's any change in Jermod McCoy's status right now. Does he do more on the practice field this week than what he's done? He did not do anything additional last week. And you kind of wondered, hey, if Arkansas is the return game, does he start ramping up during the open date on the practice field and some team periods and do those things? I don't believe he did any of that last week. So I'm still very much in a holding pattern on Jermod McCoy until I hear that he has gone through a full practice with Tennessee, because he has not done that yet.
David Hobbs.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive lineman, Charlotte, junior, expected to really blossom this year. Why does he have the chance to give the defensive line so much help with his return?
Because he plays really vertical. He can quick twitch. I think he can be a pass rush guy who can push the pocket in there better.
Has he gained a bunch of weight since he got here?
Yeah, he's gained a good – now, here's the thing about him. He's never had a true offseason because he's had surgery every offseason he's been there. But he was having a really good fall camp. He has certainly added some strength, not to the level that he would like or Tennessee would like, because he's had both shoulders done.
Right.
So that's hurt him in the weight room from a strength standpoint, but he's still strong enough. He knows understands leverage more and more, but it's the athletic ability. They're looking for a twitchy guy in there, and he was going to be their twitchy guy that you kind of pair him up with a heavy, right? You got him and Bryson Easton side by side. Well, one's the kind of the quick tackle, if you will, and the other's more of a nose or a heavier guy. That's where I think he can help them. That's why I wonder how many snaps he gets. Do they spot him into some passing situations and kind of get him back going that way? Where's his stamina level? We'll see. But certainly you're adding another body in there that you trust. So now you're getting to where you think you got 5 that you believe in. I think they believe in Isaiah Campbell. He played a lot at Mississippi State. I think he's going to play some. Nathan Robinson. Now you got Dominic Bailey, Mike. Does he go back outside and help you set the edge in the run game a little bit better? If he's playing outside at defensive end, he becomes more of a swing guy than just a pure inside tackle with Hobbs returning.
Kevin from Columbia, what young player do you think benefited most from the bye week? Kevin thinks it's David Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, offensively it's David Sanders because it gives him another week to get back into shape, game shape, continue to get acclimated and build off of that. I think that was important for him. I would also throw a Jack Van Doorslater in there because I still think the snap count for Miles Kitselman is too high right now.
So let me stop you for a second. Daryl from Camden said based on his performance against Mississippi State, especially the bone-crushing block on the edge on the overtime touchdown run, do you anticipate more playing time for Jack Van Doorslater?
I think they should. I think he should. I don't know where Ethan Davis is going to be. Back to the injury question we had off the top, this segment. So we'll see exactly where he is at with what he's been battling. But I think Jack Van Doorslater's physicality is something that can help this team. And I think that he needs to play more than 11 snaps, in part because I think you've got to spell Kitselman some. I don't think Miles Kitselman needs to play 75, 80 snaps a game. And I think that's something that you do when you're doing a self-scout. Okay? And I think if you're doing a self-scout, Mike, you are grading guys quarter by quarter. Okay? When you break it down, here's his first quarter grade, second quarter grade, third, and fourth quarter grade. And I say that to say, when's his best quarter? Is he playing his best football down the stretch in the fourth quarter, or is he playing his best football earlier in the game? And if it is earlier in the game, is he playing too many snaps, and it's affecting him mentally as much as it is physically? I think that's what open dates are for coaches, is you got to figure out, hey, he was really good in the first half, but he dropped off. Well, is that because he's playing too many snaps? Those are the questions that you have to answer there. I'll tell you another one right quick. I think it was a good open date for Ty Redmond. And I think Redmond's playing fine, but I think it's been thrown on him so quickly here. Just boom. All right, you're the guy. Play every snap. I think for him to catch his breath, probably not a bad thing.
Arkansas, obviously, Bobby Petrino will continue to run the offense as the interim head coach, averaging 515 yards per game, 214 rushing, 301 passing. So they've done some good things offensively. Averaged 37.4 points per game. Been bad on defense. 425 yards allowed per game, 168 rushing, 257 passing. So Chris Wilson will take over the play calling duties as the interim defensive coordinator. He spent the last couple years in the UFL and the USFL. But before that, he was at Colorado. And when he was at Colorado, he was the defensive line coach, and then he became the defensive coordinator. In 2022, he was fired 5 games into the season, along with Carl Dorrell, when they started 0-5. So if we're looking at Chris Wilson and what we might expect, let's go to 2021.
Okay.
They were 4-8 that year, 3-6 in the conference, and did some decent things defensively. They overall only gave up 320 points, about 27 points per game. In today's college game, that's not terrible. In terms of what they gave up from a rushing standpoint, 179. From a passing standpoint, they did some pretty good things, only gave up 17 touchdown passes, roughly 240-ish per game. They had some games where they did very good things. Had a shutout thrown in there. They were able to stymie a couple of their opponents. And what he apparently likes, if you believe, and I was reading 4 or 5 different things, he likes to take 3 really large individuals on the front of the defense and sort of have that, would you call it an old 3-4 look, where those guys are taking up space to be able to open up the gaps so that, you know, an outside linebacker, an inside linebacker can run through them and make things happen. I'm not exactly sure that's how you classify it, but that's the theory of where they like to be. Now, does he have some of those people at his disposal? Yes, he does. He's got Jaffrard, who weighs 387 pounds. Wears 95. 6'5", 387. Ball is 323. Blackstock 320. Salih 319. So, I mean, they've got some potential run stuffers in there, and then they've got a player in Rhodes, their defensive end, who has 5 sacks already on the year, 6'6", 275. So they've got some guys in the front that can make things happen. Sori, the linebacker, has played well for them, and he's a 6'3", 225-pound redshirt senior. The other backer is Dix. He's got 33 tackles. He's a 246-pound linebacker. So it looks like if you take his past and you take what they have and then you take what Wilson likes to do, they're going to get heavy and then they're going to get funky with bringing people from different places, trying to see if they can make you get in a bad position. His history is, when you take what's happened with his defenses, they've been feast or famine. They've made big plays, and they've had big things go against him. That's just from a very small sample size because he was not a defensive coordinator a lot in the college game.
Yeah, there's a year ago when these two teams played, they played 3 safeties and befuddled Tennessee's young quarterback for much of the game. Tennessee got off to a bad start, missed an early one on an early throw, and it went unraveling from that point on. Do they take any of that and kind of go and play with the, quote, overhang linebacker and walk a guy up and try to disguise where people are coming from? Does a 3-man front, odd front, as they like to call it, does that continue to give, or does that give Tennessee some issues? Mississippi State tried to do that. It affected Tennessee in the run game to a degree until later on in the game. Here's the other thing that jumped out to me when I was looking up Chris Wilson and working on him. From 2005 to 2009, he was in Norman, Oklahoma with the Oklahoma Sooners as a defensive ends coach, special teams coordinator. Josh Heupel was there from 06 to 09. Even before Heupel was there in 06, they were running a lot of the stuff that they're doing now, the Leach stuff. Now, Josh Heupel is hybrid a lot of those things. But there's a crossover of 3 years there that they've been on the practice field. So he's seen tempo now, not as the coordinator, as a position coach, but he's seen tempo. He's got an idea of what this offense likes, what it doesn't. Now, Josh Heupel's evolved a lot offensively since 2006, so let's not act like
it has since 21.
Yeah, it's not like it's the same offense. It's the same offense. But there's some rooted foundation stuff that's in there. Tempo, some of the mainstays that are there, how they use the tight end, try to light the box, declare things, all of that. So he has some familiarity with that. Does that help him in a quick turnaround game prep to get something together for this team? How much does that experience years ago practicing against this offense give him some thought to putting a plan together?
Because his real history is as a D-line coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really as a coordinator. He's done that, and he's been a co-defensive coordinator at different places. But D-line is really where he's sort of made his bones. He's 56 years old. He's been around a long time. Was with the Eagles for a period of time. Won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. So he's got a little of that pro in him, which leads you to believe, does he entertain the idea of going 6 defensive backs some? If he's got those solid guys who can hold up, especially 387 guy, if he's got those big people that can hold up if they try to pound it down your throat, do you go dime to where, because Tennessee's primary formation is 3 wide receivers, do you go dime to where you try to maybe let them have a little with the run, but take away the deeper things and make them go the long, hard way?
Well, and that's, I mean, again, they played 3 safeties and played dime last year is essentially what they ended up playing against Tennessee early in that game. Now, Tennessee opened the second half and got the run game going. Right. For what you're saying. They didn't run it as well in the first half, but they got it going in the second half and had a chance to get out of there with the win and didn't play well enough down the stretch. But there'll be some chess stuff here. The one thing I do wonder is, with his history being in the front 7 more than anywhere, how do they marry the front and the back together and what he's trying to do?
It's a great question.
I don't know the answer. I mean, I'll be curious to see what that looks like communication-wise.
And that could leave it open for a big play.
Could be. If you can block them up front, how well did they communicate with this plan? You know, because he's been a co-coordinator. Who's his back-end guy? Who's the secondary guy he trusts that ties it together? Is kind of another unknown in this matchup on Saturday.
A break and then more of your questions at 865-657-1278. We take your texts. We'd love to hear from you. This is Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
It's football time in Tennessee, and Alumni Hall is the place to gear up for your Tennessee Vols. Shop the largest and newest selection of top brands like Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, New Era, Yeti, and more. Mix and match champion tees, 2 for $38, and spend $150 to earn $10 Hall cash for your next visit. Shop AlumniHall.com. Visit Alumni Hall in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, Bristol, or Johnson City, or download their app. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping destination.
This is Mike Keith, and you're listening to the Ford F-150 Truck Highlight Show. Go Vols! The smart, powerful Ford F-150 turned in another championship-caliber performance. Thanks to available Pro Power onboard and outstanding payload numbers, fans will be talking about this tailgate for years to come. For great offers on a new Ford F-150, see your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of Tennessee Athletics.
See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions.
A farm, a family, and a tradition of premium fresh sausage that's lasted almost a century. Using only the freshest ingredients and finest cuts of meat for flavor that is locked in instantly. Each bite of Swaggerty's Farm sausage transports you back to a warm, cozy southern kitchen, leaving you satisfied and ready to take on the day. Swaggerty's Farm, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. Now available at your local retailers.
Rackley Roofing is now the official roofer of the Vols, and Rackley is more than a roofing company. They're part of the communities where they work and live, investing in neighborhoods and opening doors to a career in an industry that's growing year after year. Rackley Roofing's mission is clear: transform the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Because Rackley believes the ladder to a great roof is only as good as the people who climb it. Rackley Roofing, building roofs, building futures.
The Vol Network's Big Orange Rewind continues. Presented by Calhoun's.
Continue on with Brett Hubbs on the Vol Radio Network. Question for you, Hubber. You have a list of statistics in front of you from the first 5 games for the University of Tennessee. What is the most surprising Vol football stat to you to this point?
The passing success, how well they're throwing the football right now, stands out to me. 337 yards a game. You got 2 300-yard games in SEC play. You had not had a 300-yard game on the road since Kentucky 2021. So if you're in the positive side of the camp that stands out to you, it's the passing game. Is there a negative? Yeah, it's the opponent's third down conversion rates. Where Tennessee's at in terms of the number of third downs that they've given up / number of 20-yard plays. Those, to me, those two kind of mirror each other because that's helped you stay on the field on third downs. I think Tennessee was so good last year at limiting 20-yard plus plays. They have given up about as many as this offense has recorded this year in terms of 20-yard plays. That's allowed teams' offenses to stay on the field.
8 of 12 on fourth down conversions too.
Yeah, and there's when it's 4th and inches and we're in the world of the tush push and all that stuff, they've given up 4th and 10, 4th and 6, 4th and 8. I mean, they've given up some bigger fourth down plays, not just the shove it forward for 6 inches at a first down.
Tennessee averaging 536 yards per game, 199 on the ground, 337 through the air. 28 trips into the red zone. They have 21 touchdowns.
That number's much improved from where they were a year ago. That's a positive, certainly.
Something Arkansas does well. Arkansas 17 of 19 touchdowns in the red zone. So when they get in there, they're able to finish it up because, they got some guys who can run the ball, including the quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's fantastic with his feet. And that gets me to another disappointing number through the first 5 games, and that is the amount of rushing yards Tennessee's given up in conference action and where it's come from. So it's 198 yards, I think, for both Mississippi State and Georgia, or right at that. Now, that includes sack numbers, so it's actually more than that. But look at where that's coming from. Georgia had right at 100 yards rushing outside the tackle box. Mississippi State had right at 100 yards rushing outside the tackle box, meaning it was not off-tackle runs. They bounced it outside. Or it was designed with a stretch play to go outside or a toss. Tennessee, starting this week, particularly with Taylor Green at quarterback, has to be much better at setting the edge in the run game. And you say, okay, that's all on the defensive ends. No, that's not fair. Yes, the Leos have to play the run better. Yes, the defensive ends on the other side, strong side ends, have to play the run better. But when you're asking your linebackers to wrap and go outside and set the edge in the run and force it back in, they've got to do a better job of that. Tennessee's got to limit the outside runs.
Is Green really 6'6", 235?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if he ever put it all together in terms of consistently throwing the football, decision-making, and all those things, he is a supreme athlete. There's a reason why a lot of people last year, because of the Bobby Petrino tie, started mentioning the word Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's fair to Taylor Green. Okay, let me be first to say that. But big frame, big guy, can run, got a good arm. Bobby Petrino did some things with Lamar Jackson in Louisville. Here we go, yada, yada, yada. There's been talk of him kind of being Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's fair, but he is a really good athlete and he is a big kid.
Another week, more big running backs. Mm-hmm. Mike Washington rushed for 393 yards on the year, 6'2", 228. Braylon Russell, 6'1", 238.
Yes. And Braylon Russell's a guy Tennessee fans know and the staff knows well. Tennessee recruited him heavily. Went into the portal and then pulled his name back out. Was going to leave and decided to stay. The other thing that you're looking at, too, over the course of the next month, and that's not to jump ahead, but Green can run really well. Simpson's got legs.
Ty Simpson can run.
Okay. If Oklahoma gets Mateer back, he can run. So Tennessee part of the bye week last week. What are you introducing to your defensive guys to get ready and look for? They've not faced one yet. They've not faced a guy who's a real runner that's been really committed to running the football when a play breaks down, or maybe even some design calls. They're getting ready to see that now. So you spend a lot of time last week really focusing on rush lanes in the run game, lanes, in your vertical pressures, all of those types of things, gap integrity, that those catchphrases all the coaches say. You're going to have to be really solid with that in the next month. But starts on Saturday with an Arkansas team that's big, and they got a quarterback who can run around.
More from Brent Hubbs and your questions on the text line at 865-657-1278. This is Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Fall fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
Vol Nation, it's Coach Heupel. Every time I step out on Shields-Watkins Field, I'm reminded once again why it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. The storied history, the cherished tradition, the past, the future. As the official travel stop of the Vols, Pilot has made it their mission to ensure that the home of the Vols is preserved with pride for generations to come. Neyland Stadium, preserved by Pilot. See you out here.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
This is Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Mike from Nashville has hit us on the text line at 865-657-1278. What kind of special teams does Arkansas have? Okay, their punter is a Northern Colorado transfer by the name of Devin Bale, like Christian Bale. 47.2 yards per punt. 5 inside the 20, no touchbacks. He's also their kickoff man. 22 kickoffs for touchbacks out of 25. He has 2 tackles as well. You love it when your punter can tackle. Although he may be tackling on kickoffs because their worst kick coverage area has been kickoff returns. When they have allowed a return, they've had problems.
Well, and the interesting thing there is how aggressive does Tennessee decide to be in the kickoff return game in this game? Because that's basically been a fair catch play for Tennessee.
And everybody else.
I mean, I'm not saying Tennessee's the only one. So does Tennessee look at that and say, hey, here's an opportunity we think we can steal yards, win the hidden yards battle? Do they become a little more aggressive there, given what you're talking about with that? Punting-wise, the punter's netting 45.
Yeah.
And they're not giving up anything really in punt returns.
But on kickoff returns, the 4 returns this year have been returned for an average of 37.8. So, they've had some issues there. The kicker is Scott Starzik. He's a freshman out of Texas, the state of Texas, 4 of 6 on field goals. His long is 53. He's 25 of 25 on extra points. So nothing.
Solid.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're
solid.
They're solid. Their punt return unit, not great. They're averaging 4 or 5 yards a return, 4.4, something like that. Kickoff return, Hill, their third-team running back, 3 kickoff returns for 76 yards.
Yeah, and, I mean, given where Tennessee's at, they're not giving up kickoff returns unless they mishit something because of the way Tuberville has kicked it into the end zone. And Jackson Ross doesn't give up much. Now, I will say this is a game, if you're Tennessee, your head better be on a swivel for anything on special teams because you never know. Surprise onside.
You mean like the fake punt at Mississippi State?
Yeah, fake punt at Mississippi State. You better be ready for anything. I mean, what did UCLA do yesterday? They ran an onside kick that, Penn State was clearly not ready for. So those are the types of things in games like this. Because, again, I think their whole message is let's go have fun. Let's go play ball. Everybody just breathe, relax.
But isn't the good news for Tennessee we thought Syracuse might be like that in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
We thought East Tennessee State would be like that in the second game. We thought that UAB would definitely be like that. And then Mississippi State did do that.
Yeah. They did. The only thing UAB did was some of the funky formation stuff. They didn't really take some of those chances. And then obviously Mississippi State did at that point. It worked out well. But yeah, you better be ready for that in a game like this. Because you don't want to give up a cheap play. You don't want to give up a freebie. You got to field them. You got to do everything you need to do.
Tennessee, Arkansas, this Saturday, 4:15 Eastern, Vol Network on the air at 1:30 Eastern with Big Orange Countdown.
Miss any of today's Rewind? Catch the full podcast with Mike Keith and Brent Hubbs. UTSports.com. We are the Vol Network. Exclusive guests, insider analysis. You know what happened. Find out why and how and what happens next. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's. A taste of Tennessee. Grab a taste after the next Tennessee game. Calhoun's.
So glad you're with us for Big Orange Rewind. Mike Keith and Brent Hubbs. Tennessee against Arkansas at Neyland Stadium this Saturday, 4:15 Eastern Time kickoff. 1:30 is when the Vol Radio Network hits the air. That's Eastern Time, 12:30 Central with Big Orange Countdown. Tennessee and Arkansas have a really weird history.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it dates back to the 71 Liberty Bowl with what Arkansas fans like to call the Phantom Fumble that Tennessee ends up with the ball and goes in to score to win 14-13, and there are still Arkansas people that will swear forever that that Arkansas had the ball, that Tennessee didn't have the ball. Now you can believe whatever you wish.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean you can.
Okay. Were you there? Do you have an explanation?
No,
Did you see it?
I was a young man. No, but the one thing you did learn from that is when you're on defense and there's a fumble, start pointing the other way. If you can't jump on the ball,
start pointing.
Just start pointing wildly, because there is a chance that there will be an official who just so wants to be on television or whatever that he's going to give you the big point your way emotionally. Mm-hmm. There are some Arkansas fans who are convinced that's what happened in the 71 Liberty Bowl. Well, Tennessee goes in to score. They beat Joe Ferguson, who was a great Arkansas player, played for the Buffalo Bills for years. So that happened. Then there was the 1990 Cotton Bowl.
Yes, where Chuck Webb went bananas.
Crazy.
Went bananas.
Went crazy. Carl Pickens played both ways in that game.
Yeah, and played well.
Tennessee won to go to 11-1.
Yeah, that That team was so good in '90. They had so much talent.
Well, that was
in
the
90.
'89
or the
team.
'89 team, the '90 Cotton Bowl.
And then the '90 team is where they added all of the
JUCO
players. That team will be one of the ones honored in Champions Weekend this weekend. The '85 Vols, the '90 Vols, the '95 Tennessee baseball team. Just to name a few that will be honored this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of really good people, a lot of really good players, a lot of really good people back to be honored this weekend. Obviously, that '85 team is so special to everybody because of they kind of came out of the blue and the way that they performed and all that they went through that year. That '90 team was really good.
Maybe
really
the
good.
best Tennessee team I ever saw in terms of talent.
Yeah.
When Tennessee played Notre Dame in that game at Neyland Stadium. It ended up being something like 30 some odd players from the two teams combined were drafted, and 6 or 7 first rounders.
Yeah, I mean there was a ton of talent on the field that day for both sides. I mean Tennessee had the wide receivers. You had Rocket Ismail on the other side. Chris Zorich was there for Notre Dame. I mean there was a ton of talent on the field on that game. Maybe one of the most talent-filled games ever played in Neyland Stadium.
And it was a great game.
It was a great game.
34-29, Notre Dame ended up winning it.
Yeah. Tennessee couldn't, after the onside kick, couldn't convert there.
Tom Carter with the interception.
Yeah.
Made a really nice play for Notre Dame.
He did.
But back to the Arkansas series. So then you go 92, the Joe Kynes game. Tennessee's 5-0. Johnny Majors is back from heart surgery. Joe Kynes has taken over as the interim head coach because Arkansas lost their opener to Citadel. And so they made a change very quickly, and they beat Tennessee.
And that's the Terrapini game, right? Is that the Danny Ford Terrapini game?
No.
That's a different game.
That's a couple years later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe even the next year in Little Rock.
Okay, that would be the next year.
But that was bizarre.
Yeah, that was the next year.
So that
because they were playing them every year at that point. I guess.
So that was very strange. Obviously, 98 and 99.
Well, and I would contend in 95 that was the coming out party for Peyton Manning. And I know everybody talks about the Alabama game in 95, and rightfully so. But remember, was that Joe Lee Dunn, the defensive coordinator?
And he just absolutely – every time he saw a Joe Lee Dunn defense –
just carved it up.
He tortured him.
Yeah, just torched him.
The more they blitzed Peyton Manning, the better he liked it.
I think that might have been the last pay-per-view game we ever saw too, or one of the last pay-per-view games. That game was on pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, in 95.
Let's see. Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
I did the last pay-per-view game.
Well, the
last pay-per-view game was Austin Peay in 2013 before the SEC Network came on.
Okay, that was the last one with two SEC opponents, probably. Pay-per-view there. So they got 98, as you mentioned.
And then 99.
The 99 game where Tennessee just didn't get it done over there. And then there was the game that Tennessee blocked a punt. It was freezing cold. It's the last time they played in Little Rock before they went to Fayetteville permanently. That would have been, I guess, the early 2000s.
Well, then 02, of course, was the 6 overtimes.
Yes, where Tennessee gave up the late touchdown to let it go into overtime.
Right.
Clausen finished that game with a broken collarbone.
Right.
Had a broken collarbone on the touchdown throw to Jason Witten in the 6th overtime, and just a marathon affair. That one was one of the more crazy ones because it was
But
just.
they've always had these.
Yeah, they've always been bizarre.
So the whole interim coach thing.
Very fitting.
Very fitting. Well, it's happened before.
Yeah, it's very fitting for this series, and it just creates the bizarreness that is this series because there's just been quirky things, unusual things that have happened.
Well, and there are tie-ins between the two programs because Arkansas featured a Tennessee man as their head coach in John Barnhill. He went there, and Barney was the coach here 41 through 45 while General Neyland was taking part in World War II. And then he went to Arkansas and had a great run there. Obviously handed it off to Frank Broyles, who had an even better run. John Majors was an assistant coach there. Tennessee hired Doug Dickey off Arkansas' staff. There were a lot of people who thought that had Philip Fulmer not gotten the Tennessee job after the 92 season, that he would have ended up at Arkansas. Yeah, so there's this whole sort of – Bowden Wyatt coached at Arkansas.
Yeah, a lot of ties.
A ton of ties.
A lot of and again, a lot of bizarre games. A lot of unusual things happen in games there. So better rivalry than people know. Better game, better series than people get. Because people think of it as just, well, they came into the league, when they added them to the SEC. But there's much more about the ties between the two programs than just their arrival in the SEC in 92.
Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's, continuing here on the Vol Radio Network. Your text questions, we'd love to have them at 865-657-1278. We've had a lot to discuss on this edition of Big Orange Rewind, of course, because we had the weekend off. That was it. We get the weekend off,
but football rolls along.
But football moves on,
and there's plenty of storylines in football moving on, and it's not just football moving on. There's a ton of other things going on Tennessee's campus. I mean, think about this: we're less than about 3 weeks away, 22 days away from Duke coming to town to start exhibition
3
basketball.
Weeks from tonight, we won't be on.
Yeah,
because we'll be doing basketball.
Yeah, so lots of things are getting ready to get cranked up and get going. That the overlap season is. Don't you love Rick Barnes? Hey, here's what we'll do. We're going to have a close scrimmage against Ohio State.
Yes.
And then less than a week later, let's play Duke in an exhibition game. I love it.
Which people can come.
Yeah, I love it. And sold out. I mean, I love that emergence of basketball, those exhibition, those scrimmages. I love that basketball teams are doing that. I know we can't do that in football. I don't think we'll ever get there in football. But I love the fact that basketball is doing those types of exhibition games, scrimmages with each other, type deal to help get themselves better. I think it's great for the game. And Rick Barnes has been such a huge advocate for that. Tennessee didn't do this until Coach Barnes came about, and you've now played these Davidson, and you've had exhibition games against these top teams like Michigan State, obviously, and now Duke coming in. It's really good for the game, really good for the program too.
All right, so a couple things here off the top. Any chance the Vols will wear all orange for a third straight week?
No, I don't think so.
The Leadership Council votes on that.
Well, they do. You think they like those orange britches?
UAB.
Champions weekend, they'll go traditional.
You think?
I think so.
But that's their choice.
It is their choice. I bet they're in traditional.
3 straight weeks. I mean, do you mess with the thing when you've...
Do you mess with the thing if it's the thing?
You've just won an SEC game in overtime. And I mean, because you're not going to do it in Tuscaloosa. You know that.
Right.
You're not going to do it at Lexington. You know that.
Right. And then you're going to go to Smoky Gray Salute to Service for New Mexico State.
Hey, do you realize they're 3-2?
Mm-hmm.
And do you realize that there's a good chance? I was doing some reading on Logan Fife, their quarterback, who started his career at Fresno and then played at Montana. I think he's like 37 years old. He's another one of these guys that
God bless college football.
Yeah, it really is. All these old guys playing college football.
He went from getting offer letters to AARP letters. That's great.
Yes, it's tremendous. Nice. Did you write that?
I did. I'll be here all night.
Very good. Please tip your waiters. But seriously, though, they may be 6-3 when they roll in here. This is not going to be.
This is
Kent State
right.
or who was it, UTEP or.
Yep.
I mean, so I was looking at it. I mean, they play Liberty this week. Liberty's 1-4, and then they have a couple more games. Western Kentucky's 5-1, so that may be a tough one. But I mean, they're 3-2.
Western Kentucky at 5-1. I wonder if Tyson Helton's going to show up on. As a candidate for somewhere. Is he going to win enough there that he might be a candidate for a group of 4 job? That's a total different side note. It's a guy who passed through here on a short stay. But, yeah, they're not going to be bad. If they get I think Tennessee's hoping for a night game against Oklahoma. That'd be dark mode if they get there. Back to your uniform question.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then Smoky Gray for New Mexico State.
Yep.
And then Vanderbilt, you would feel like is probably – it could be all orange again.
It could be.
3 in a row. Could it have? You bet no.
I'm going traditional. Champions Weekend, they're going to wear traditional uniforms. Is what I think.
All right. So here's the other question for you. What time's Tennessee, Alabama on October 18th when they make the announcement tomorrow? You want the schedule?
Well, what's already been declared? Do we know anything that's declared at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we do, but now I'll have to look it up. I was just hoping you would just jump in and play along, but I guess you can't do that, right?
I can, but I would like to not look like a fool when I make a random guess. I mean, I know that's very common for me to look like a fool, but my hope would be to try to
What's already been declared on the 18th?
Yeah, is anything declared?
Nothing.
Nothing's a flex.
According to SECsports.com, nothing.
Nothing is done.
Is declared. Yeah, I mean, we know Tennessee, Alabama's a flex.
Right, but nothing's declared for sure.
All right, but here's the weekend.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Texas A&M at Arkansas.
Okay.
I mean, at best, Arkansas is 3-3 at that point.
Texas A&M at Arkansas?
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't think that's probably the 3:30 or one of the night windows?
Unless it's that SEC network game at like 4:15. But go ahead.
All right. Missouri at Auburn.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. All right. Got my attention.
Mississippi State at Florida. The Dan Mullen Bowl.
That could be a night game.
Ole Miss at Georgia.
Oh, okay. There's your 3:30 or a night, one or the other.
I'd say that's your 3:30. I'm guessing. Texas at Kentucky. LSU at Vanderbilt. Oklahoma at South Carolina. Tennessee at Alabama.
It's good weekend games. Good weekend games.
I think Tennessee, Alabama's a night game. I think when they announce it tomorrow, and I don't know anything, so don't claim I'm trying to pull one of your tricks.
Why is it my trick?
Well, because you did that on the Kentucky thing. You had South Carolina as one of the three, and then suddenly you backed off because somebody told you something.
No, I backed off because I realized I'd made a crazy statement. Didn't make any sense. But that's okay. I admit I was wrong.
Tennessee, Alabama, I think, is a night game.
Okay.
Because I think Ole Miss at Georgia is probably – I think ABC is just going to be in love with Ole Miss and Georgia as the 3:30 Eastern game. It's Georgia, and it's Lane Kiffin. And with this Lane Kiffin documentary, man, they want everything Lane Kiffin they can get right now.
Mm-hmm. So they're a flex game.
Yes.
That is one of the flex games. Yeah, that would make sense. That it would be a night deal.
You don't sound like you have great belief in that, or you don't have much passion for it one way or the other.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't have.
What, do you know something and you're not telling the audience?
No,
is that what you're doing?
I tell you, it's hard to figure out because here's the thing: is this one of those weeks where there's 3 SEC games at noon that we don't know? Right? Is this the week that there's 3 SEC night games? I mean. The TV stuff's just really hard to figure out. So we'll find out tomorrow at noon altogether. How about that?
Is it noon Eastern or?
It's about 1 o'clock. About 1 Eastern.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They declare 12 days out. And we know Kentucky's at night.
Yes.
Just not sure exactly what time.
Correct.
With our luck, we're guessing the 7:45 window probably.
Oh, yeah, it'll be late. With a 5-minute slide.
With the 5-minute slide to 7:50 and the 72-mile-an-hour wind at Kroger Field.
It'll be okay, so Mississippi State, Florida is in the afternoon window. That's going to be a 3:30 or a 3:30 to 4:30.
That's going to be a 4:15.
Okay. I'm working.
So
I'm working.
You know people are
watching
and listening,
I understand.
Right?
I'm just figuring this out.
You realize we have
well.
an audience. You're not just talking to yourself.
Never mind. I'll continue on. Next.
We've got more coming up. Maybe Brent will join us for the next segment. We would love for him to be with us.
It's like a game of picture pages, man. I'm just trying to put it all together.
No, you're behind the paywall now. We know. You know stuff.
Yeah, that's me. Stuff. I know stuff. Right. Yeah, okay.
We've got more coming up. He doesn't think it's going to be all orange, though.
I don't. I think it's going to be traditional on Champions Weekend.
On Champions Weekend, he says. All right. More coming up on Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's 9 East Tennessee locations and in Neyland Stadium as well. Big Orange Rewind on the Vault. Radio Network.
Big Orange Rewind on the Vol Network.
Sponsored by Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping experience. By Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, the official insurance of the Vols. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life. Co-op, proudly supplying your rural lifestyle in Big Orange Country. And by UT Medical Center, the official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
In this town, we don't just root for the team. We are the team. We rise before the sun, stay long after the lights go out. We are Big Orange Country. And with this team stands another, UT Medical Center. We heal the hurt, fuel the comeback, keep Vol Nation stronger, tougher, together, with care that never lets up. UT Medical Center, official healthcare provider of the Vols, and all of Vol Nation.
This October, Protrition Feeds, manufacturer of Co-op and Cumberland Mills branded feeds, is proud to partner with your Co-op and stand with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Be on the lookout for the pink feed tags because your livestock feed purchase will fight breast cancer in October. Protrition Feeds will donate to Susan G. Komen for every pink tag feed sold, helping raise awareness and fund life-saving research, advocacy, and care. Learn more at your local Co-op. Together with farm families, employees, and co-op communities across our region this October, we feed strong, fight strong.
Natural gas is building a brighter future for Tennesseans, powering the places where we live, work, and grow. It's more affordable than electricity and cleaner than other conventional energy sources. Natural gas makes every meal easier, delivering precision and speed in the kitchen. From your grill to your appliances, natural gas is there, keeping your life moving. And natural gas is the energy behind Tennessee's thriving industries.
Natural gas.
Tennessee pride runs deep from Neyland Stadium to the family farm. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we stand behind the Tennessee farmers who feed and fuel our nation, just like we cheer for the Vols on game day. Because we understand that whether you farm every day, only on the weekends, or simply enjoy time on property outside of town, we have loans to fit your needs. Because farming matters, and so does every play, every harvest, every heartbeat of Tennessee. Learn how Farm Credit Mid-America serves the great state of Tennessee at FCMA.com. Loan subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Farm Credit Mid-America is an equal opportunity lender.
The week ahead. The final analysis on this week. Big Orange Rewind. Presented by Calhoun's.
Need a haircut? With the Great Clips app, you can put your name on the list from anywhere and head to the salon when you're up next. Because getting a great haircut shouldn't mean putting your life on hold. Great Clips. It's going to be great. Time for an in-depth look at the Vols' next opponent, the Arkansas Razorbacks, with the Built Ford Tough Report. Brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Tennessee football and the Ford F-150 Tough runs in our family. Arkansas 2-3 on the season. They fired head coach Sam Pittman after their third straight loss. A devastating blowout at home to Notre Dame last weekend. Bobby Petrino has been elevated to interim head coach for the rest of the season. Arkansas averaging 37 points per game. Had a bye weekend this weekend as well. As a matter of fact, 7 SEC teams were off this weekend. Quarterback is Taylon Green, completing 62% of his passes, averaging 280 yards per game through the air, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's also rushing for an average of 88 yards per game. Senior running back Mike Washington averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Wide receiver Blake Omega, a transfer from Charlotte, is the leading receiver, 30 catches, 3 touchdowns. Linebacker Xavier Sori, who's on the 2025 Butkus Award list, is the Hogs' leading tackler. The Built Ford Tough Report is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers. Question's going to be, more than anything else, what will Arkansas look like on defense?
Yeah, I mean, what can they put in a short period of time? What is the system? How much do they tweak it? What can they do to kind of jumpstart their defense and get it going in the direction that they want to go? Offensively, they've been really good. They've been able to score points, but they have to find some kind of answers on defense. What do those answers look like? Makes for an interesting prep week for Josh Heupel. I mean, and his staff. They script so much of that early part of the game. Like, what do you script? You're not sure what kind of look you're going to get. You better have you better have 2 or 3 scripts in your pocket that you're going to go with. I think how you adjust in this game will be a pretty key stat, and that probably works a little bit against Tennessee because they've been so good in the first quarter starting games. So good.
Bobby Petrino dismissed defensive coordinator Travis Williams, defensive line coach Deke Adams, and defensive assistant Marcus Woodson right after getting the job. There were rumors that those moves would have happened anyway, even had Sam Pittman been able to stay on the staff. Chris Wilson, who was the team's assistant defensive line coach, takes over as the interim defensive coordinator. He does have experience in that role, having been a defensive coordinator most recently at Colorado in the UFL and in the USFL.
And he also was at Oklahoma at the same time Josh Heupel was there. So he has an idea about Josh Heupel's offensive system and some of the things they like to do as well. It's obviously changed some, but there is some familiarity with some of the tempo stuff that Josh Heupel has run.
Jay Hayes has joined the Arkansas staff to coach the Razorbacks defensive line. He spent 2 decades in the NFL. He was a special teams coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings, joined the Cincinnati Bengals and coached their defensive line for 13 years, took over Tampa Bay's defensive line for 2 seasons, and was with Green Bay during 2018 as the team's assistant defensive line coach. He, too, coached in the UFL along with Chris Wilson and had coached in the XFL. So overall, they're remaking that defensive staff and no telling what they're going to see. I mean, they've not been very good on defense.
They have not. And what can they do to make it work? I mean, how do they simplify it? What do they tweak? You mentioned it earlier. The NFL's got a little more – they're a little more dime heavy in the NFL. They're a little more comfortable playing 6 defensive backs than you see in college. Will that be something Tennessee deals with? Will there be odd fronts? What kind of package will they put together seemingly in a week's time? And again, who adjusts the quickest, and how do you get it adjusted, and how do you get adapted to what they're trying to do? Part of the chess match that'll be there early in this game.
Beat up defensive line for Tennessee coming out of Mississippi State. Expectation they'll be up to snuff, ready to go for this game against Arkansas?
On the defensive line, yes. I think they're going to have everybody for the first time. We'll see. But I think they're going to have everybody for the first time all season long. Hobbs should be back. They got Jackson Moy back. We'll see where they are with Marion Dye. He did not play, so we'll see where that one's at. But overall, I think this is as deep as, from an experience standpoint, this will be the best they've been since all season long. Be better than they've been all season long.
David Sanders get a chance in the offensive line this week.
Yeah, I think he starts. I mean, I do. That's just my opinion. I don't know anything, but he was one of your best 5 coming out of spring ball. He was one of your best 5 the entire fall camp. He was one of your best 5 up until Friday morning before Syracuse when he was told, or Saturday morning until he was told he couldn't play. So he went in a very difficult situation, cold, and performed well got loose and performed well by all accounts. Looked
11 snaps, was that right?
I think 11, or 13. I think it was 11. Did have the offsides, but you go back and look, really good block on the touchdown run by Joey Aguilar. Had another pancake block in there. Did a good job on the pull. I think you're trying to get your best 5, and you want to be more physical in the interior, so I think you slide Jesse Perry inside. You play David Sanders outside. I think that's where you were. No offense to Sham Yurmaroff, but I think now that you can get back there, you get back there.
I think you're excited about Wendell Moy and Lance Hurd together on the left side.
I think so. Now, the question is, and the good news is you've heard Glenn Ellerbe, Tennessee's offensive line coach talk about how Jesse Perry doesn't make the same mistake twice. He understands, asks a lot of questions, really understands things. So he can help David Sanders out there, you would think, even though he's a young player. Maybe some different looks and some different things that they'll come about. I would imagine that Arkansas will try to do some of the, not a lot, but they may pick up some things from the Mississippi State game, to try to stymie the run game a little bit. Can we shoot some linebackers and take some risks that way and be aggressive in run defense, kind of run blitz some stuff? And so you're hoping that Jesse Perry and David Sanders, if that's the direction they go, communicate well enough over there. But on that left side, man, I think you got a chance to be really, really physical when you look at those guys.
Especially when you put Kitzelman on that side to block too.
Yeah, I mean, when even Van Dorselaer, I think you can do some things. I like that left side if you get those two together. Wendell Moy has played really, really well.
Yes, sir.
And so is Lance Hurd. I mean, somebody asked in the last hour about kind of takeaways, young guys, and open dates, and you were asking about, surprises and everything else. I mean, I think you look at Brazel. I think you look at Josh Joseph. I think you look at Wendell Moy. I think you look at Lance Hurd. There's
Aguilar.
I mean, but those first four guys are guys who are moving up draft boards. Mm-hmm. They're getting everybody. Joshua Joseph's got everybody's attention. Everybody in the scouting department of the National Football League's paying attention because of the way he's playing. Colton Hood certainly was not on anybody's board coming in, I wouldn't think. He's there now. Some people mock him in the first round. There's some guys who have really played well and are going to help their future because of that. And I think that's an interesting story through the first month of the season. It's helped Tennessee get to 4-1, and the byproduct of that is guys really have improved their stock.
Joseph got the fourth sack back, as a matter of fact, and Tennessee got its sixth sack back at Mississippi State. A play that we thought on the radio was a sack. Mississippi State or whomever was doing the official scoring ruled it was a run play. Upon further review and looking at it, it was decided it was an RPO play that was set up to be a pass. It was a quarterback sack. So Joseph now leads the Vols with 4, and Tennessee has 21 as a team through 5 games.
Yeah, and that's been another positive storyline because they had 29 all of last season. They have 21 in the first month of the season. They've given up too many yards in the ground. They've got to clean some things up there. They've given up too many explosives, not gotten off the field on 3rd and long. But when they've gotten off the field, I don't want to act like they've given up every 3rd and long completion because that's not fair. They have not done that. They've given up more than they would like to give up. But, man, they've really harassed the quarterback when they've got him in some passing situations.
Well, they've 8 takeaways, and they've scored on 4 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee as a team has 9 turnovers. That's too many.
Absolutely.
And 2 of those are on special teams.
Well, and I think – and that's – go ahead.
I mean, you just can't just can't have that. Tennessee's -1 in turnover ratio. That's got to turn around the rest of the year. But if this defense keeps getting takeaways and scoring –
well, and I think scoring defense can be a misleading stat in some cases, and I think it's a bit misleading here for Tennessee when you look at it. I mean, Mississippi State scored 21 points on 60 total yards of offense. Right. They had one drive that was a 4-play drive. You look at the ETSU game. Was that the fumble at the end of the second quarter? Mm-hmm. Gave them a free 7 there.
Right.
There have been there's 4 or 5 touchdowns where Tennessee's, it looks like the defense is giving it up, but they were really put in a really bad situation. Now, you want to answer the bell when you're in that situation. Tim Banks will tell you, we got to be better than sudden change. But, I mean, that skewed the numbers a little bit for where Tennessee is defensively. There's some things they got to improve on, but some of the scoring defense numbers are a little bit misleading when you look at the spots they've been put in.
More coming up with your questions at the text line. We invite you to join us at 865-657-1278. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Hey fans, it's Coach Heupel. On the field, every play adds up in a long drive. Life works the same way. Whether you're building a home, raising a family, or running a small business, it takes consistency and a strong team behind you. That's why I turned to Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Just like our team, they're built for the long drive. Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life. Get a free quote at FBITN.com.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
At the University of Tennessee, the Vols are known for competing at the highest level on the field, the court, and the diamond. And just like the Vols, Food City excels at everything too. They've got in-store butchers carving up certified Angus beef, fresh local produce, a full-service bakery, Fuel Bucks rewards, and one of the best beer and wine selections in town. Food City, the official supermarket of the Vols, and your home for everything Tennessee.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
Mike, Brent, and you. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Fans, the beef sweepstakes are back. Food City and your local cattle farmers are ready to fire up the perfect combination, beef and football. Every time you purchase a fresh beef product using your Food City value card, you'll automatically be registered to win a pair of tickets to see the Vols take on Oklahoma on November 1st. You bring the appetite, we'll serve up the game. Only from Food City and your local cattle farmers. Contest ends October the 19th. It's going to be quite a game.
Yes. It will be quite the game, for sure.
Oklahoma's last visit here was pretty exciting.
One of the loudest, for 4 quarters, one of the loudest that stadium has been for an entire game. Was a really good football game. Tennessee obviously didn't finish it in overtime, but that was a really good football game. A lot of fun. That was a potential moment for Tennessee. They couldn't quite get over the hump there, but it was a great game.
By the way, the Lady Vols soccer team will be playing at Oklahoma Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Interesting match. Coming off another victory today. Lady Vols win in Oxford, Mississippi, 4-1 over Ole Miss. They are now 11-1-1, 5-1-1 in the SEC. So they're having a fine year.
They're absolutely playing terrific. Got that big early win over North Carolina and gave them a lot of momentum. They went to California, beat UCLA, big momentum, and they've done a nice job in the SEC. Picked up 2 wins, Georgia and then Ole Miss today. They've played extremely well.
The basketball team, of course, 3 weeks away from playing against Duke. Exhibition game, be right here on the Vol Radio Network, Sunday night.
That'll feel anything but like an exhibition game when that deal gets going.
So we'll go to Kentucky on Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Play in Kentucky and then come back and take on Duke in an exhibition game.
Yep, you got the Boozer twins who highlight Duke's freshman class, and then obviously Tennessee's got Nate Ament, who a lot of people think may be the best freshman in the country, period. So be some young guys getting after it who have played against each other a bunch. So there'll be a bigger crowd than they've ever played before, but they know each other well. That's the beauty of college basketball. Those guys have all been in tournaments and played against each other and different events and things like that. They'll get after it. That one will be fun.
All right, here's a question from the text line at 865-657-1278. If you're Rick Barnes in Tennessee men's basketball, what are you hoping to get out of the exhibition against Duke?
Well, I think you want to see how some of your young players and newcomers react in that environment. Sold out crowd. It's going to be loud. Do they take the coaching the way they need to? when you start to get some of the chemistry going the way that you want to get. I think it's just an opportunity to compete. And I think if you had Rick Barnes on for an hour on the Mike Key show, everything he talks about circles back to competing. He's always competing in something. And I think he wants to see how his team competes in that arena, in that environment. That was the big thing about going to Michigan State and doing that. It was just, what do we have? Like, how do we compete against somebody else and some pressure stuff? Now, there'll be some quirky rules, I'm sure, where you can't foul out and different things like that. But how do you compete? And how do you adjust? How do you take coaching? There's a lot Rick Barnes will take from that deal.
Well, Kobe Gillespie won't have a problem. He played against Duke last year.
Yeah.
At Maryland.
Yeah. But, like, where's – I was in listening to Coach Barnes, like, talking about Felix. How much more does his game broaden out? That's something they've worked on a lot with him. How much does his expansion of his game, what does that look like? You want to see how guys react into those things and go from there.
I think they're a better overall post team in so many different ways. Not only is Okpara back, which is great, and you have Cade Phillips, but getting Jalen Carey, J.P. Estrella, who has offensive capabilities that was something that you did not have in terms of that post player last year. You hope to be able to get some scoring. When you lost him, you really lost something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he can shoot the basketball from the free throw line extended. He can drive it. He can finish it inside. Be interesting to see physically how he holds up, because it's been a long process for him, and then I think he turned an ankle or something.
He's had a hard time staying healthy.
He's had a hard time staying healthy, but he's a 6'11" player who can shoot the basketball.
Well, I think the hope and the belief that they have with their post is that they can go get a bucket in the post or get to the free throw line, which has not been the case for them in the post. So if they can do that, and then if you think a man can step out and he can go get you something, it changes offense a lot.
What I've noticed and am most interested in with Nate Ament is how our team's going to guard him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's quote-unquote 6'9". He may be taller than that. Let's say he's 6'10". Do you put a guy 6'4" on him?
Yeah, if you do, you're going to run isolation and back him down, right?
And that's the only time. I mean, he does not play with his back to the basket. He plays facing the basket. And Rick Barnes said it on the show. He plays guard.
Right.
At best, he's a small forward, but he's really an off guard, and he has some ball handling skills too, which to me will make him a totally different player than Tennessee has ever seen. Not saying that he's Bernard King, not saying that he's Allen Houston, not saying that he's Dale Ellis or Grant Whips, not saying that.
Right.
Just saying stylistically, they've never had a player like this. They've had a couple 6'7" guys. Vincent Yarbrough, Scotty Hobson. They've had some guys that could sort of step out and, do some things that were 6'6", 6'7"-ish. But this way? So what do you do? And it's funny who they have guard him in practice. They have all different sorts of play, to get him ready for what teams are going to try to do.
Well, and I think if you're Rick Barnes, what you're looking at in this matchup in the exhibition game, you want to compete against other people. That's why you got Ohio State coming in, Duke, because you want to see how people are going to play.
Right.
Because what you're going to do is you're going to take all of that information and then you're going to have a counterpunch to it. Okay? If they go big on him, what can we do? Can we run isolation here? What do we do? If they go small, can we let him back himself to the back down to the basket a little bit and come off some lower screens down there and play a little back to the basket, quick turnaround type game? What is our punch counter punch? That's hard to do when you're scrimmaging against yourself every day.
Right.
So this gives you the opportunity against really good competition to say, oh, okay, yep, we expect that, or oh, okay, now we can do that off of this. And start to build out of it that way. This one's a little different than the Connect Michigan State stuff where he kind of announced himself on the scene.
He scored 39?
Yeah. Nobody really knew what Dalton Connect was.
Right.
And Tennessee wanted to see him in that environment. He had been good on the practice floor, but it was like you come out of that and went, oh, okay, we got a lot to work with here. You have a lot to work with Nate. The question is, how do you pair that game up versus the matchups that he's going to see?
Well, what he does for you is, I mean, can he score 30? I think he probably can. But where he's going to help you win games when he scores 12 and gets 10 boards and has 7 assists because other people are getting easy opportunities because teams know if we just let him go one-on-one, we don't have a matchup.
Yeah.
How many teams are going to have a true matchup with him?
Well, and again, to your point, okay, if they go big, if Tennessee goes big, all right, and they're playing 2 post and they're playing him, or they're playing Nate out there, okay, how many teams have 3 guys that they can play and have enough depth that you're going to roll that way? I mean, there's so many matchup problems you can create with this that you don't typically have year in and year out. That's why Rick Barnes is so excited about this deal.
And because of the athletic ability of Gillespie and what he's able to do, I mean, you theoretically could put Gillespie on the floor with Ament, Carey, Phillips, and Okpara. And then you're going 7 feet, 6'9", 6'8", 6'10", and a point guard who has a ton of offensive and defensive ability. I mean, you remember him playing football at Greenville.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a Division I prospect in football.
Yep. So, I mean, he has a lot of flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why he's really excited about what he has to work, and rightfully so. This team's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what fans have to realize is Rick Barnes doesn't care if he wins the exhibition game. He doesn't care what the score is.
What did he sit? He sat Zakai down for the last 7 minutes of the Indiana game because he got mad at him.
Right, and he just wants – and some of that sometimes is I want to see how both react. How does my team react without him on the floor? How does he react when I do this to him? I mean, there's some mind games going on, and you want to put your team in different scenarios and adjust out of that. You want to see how certain guys react. If you feel really good about a couple of these guys, okay, let's make it's the old Michael Jordan, right? He's dominating. All right, now let's put him on the bad team and see how he goes. You're going to do some of that stuff in these exhibition type games, so you see how guys react being put in difficult spots.
I think it's one of the most, if not the most interesting roster he's had.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the most talented.
No.
I don't know that yet. But in terms of the pieces, I mean, like Amari Evans is a fascinating player. Troy Henderson is an interesting player. Dwayne Brown is a really interesting player. I mean, they've got several guys that do, really different things and come in different sizes. And, I think the question is, too, do they have other people that can handle the ball if Gillespie has to go out? I mean, you don't want to play Gillespie 40 minutes a game.
Nope. You don't, unless he can prove that he can do it.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean,
the head basketball coach has no problem playing his point guard the entire game if the guy can handle it.
I know.
It's not ideal. I get that, but that's his spot. That's his
Gillespie,
position.
The thing about Gillespie that's different is he looks to score.
Mm-hmm.
For a point guard to have a scorer's mentality is sometimes good, sometimes bad. When you watch him, you say, oh, this is sometimes good. Because, I mean, he can shoot it and he can finish at the basket.
Well, I think the question with this team and what Rick Barnes wanted to solve coming out of last year's Elite 8 run and even the previous year's Elite 8 run is, can I throw it in the block and get a bucket? And can I get to the rim and finish at the rim? Can we get somebody, when we got late in the clock and all of our sets have broken down and it's time for somebody to go make a play, how many options do I have for somebody to go make a play for us? Whether that's throwing it down to a guy on the block and he creates something, whether it's an isolation play with somebody, who can go get me a bucket at any given time? And do I have more than one option to do that? I think he feels like he may have a couple of options of guys who can do that.
More coming up on this edition of Big Orange Rewind with Brent Hubbs. I'm Mike Keith, and we're presented by Calhoun's.
Today's Big Orange Rewind, sponsored by
First Horizon Bank, Big Bank Solutions, Small Bank Spirit, the official bank of the Vols. Swaggerty's Farm Sausage, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. by the Tennessee Fund. Join the My All campaign today at IWillGiveMyAll.com. Rackley Roofing, the official roofer of the Vols. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
There are big banks with large capital resources, and there are small banks that go above and beyond. And there's a bank in Tennessee that offers both. You guessed it, First Horizon. They're big enough to offer tailored solutions to help retail and business customers, but small enough to maintain that personal touch. No opportunity too big, no detail too small. First Horizon, big bank muscle, small bank hustle, and the official bank of the Vols.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouth-watering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve Vol fans since 1983.
Vol fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
Tennessee fans, the Vol Shop has everything you need to support the Big Orange. With a 15,000 square foot store in the Student Union and other locations on Cumberland Avenue, in the University Commons, and inside Neyland Stadium, the Vol Shop is stocked full of official gear and exclusive apparel. The Vol Shop is your go-to retailer for Tennessee merchandise. If you can't make it to campus, shop online at utvolshop.com and be sure to follow them on social media. The Vol Shop, the official campus store of the University of Tennessee.
Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, continues.
All right, Brent Ups had to go to instant replay, and I've been overruled. Maryland did not play Duke because, as we all know now, Maryland is in the Big Ten. Duke is in the ACC.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, well, thank you.
But
Thank you.
I thought they played just a regular game of some kind. I just, everybody plays everybody.
Old new guy here. He missed the news there.
You missed the news that Maryland is no longer in the ACC.
Well, I think they should be in the ACC.
Instead of Cal? Is that your point? Instead of Stanford?
SMU?
Is that your point?
No, my point is
that someone on the Atlantic Coast should be in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine Gary Williams not coaching in the ACC tournament, right? Yeah. Lefty Drizel.
Gary Williams on that knee with that ring turned around, just banging the floor off of it.
Lefty Drizel doing whatever it was he did.
Yes.
So, I'm corrected. I stand corrected. My fault. So I guess it's entirely possible that Kobe Gillespie will be nervous when he plays against Duke.
I don't think he gets nervous for a lot.
I don't think he does either.
It will be his first time apparently playing against Duke.
I guess.
Unless
Belmont played him.
Belmont may have played him.
See? Now, how do you not know that? I would expect you to know that.
How did you not know Maryland was not in the Big Ten?
Because I was working somewhere else, doing something else, not being aware enough, obviously. There'll be more of these, I can promise.
Trust me. Don't look for me to be the corrector.
When I was sitting around watching all the videos about the difference in pro and college football rules, sitting in my office watching a rules video.
Which one got you the most?
I mean, didn't really get you, but you have to stop and think about them, because there are, the hash marks are obviously different.
Sure.
And the pass interference is obviously very different. Asking some questions about basketball rules having changed.
Well, basketball, we always find out that early season point of emphasis when you have that game that called 72 fouls, and it's like, okay, point of emphasis made, onward we go.
Yes, don't grab that guy.
Let's stop with that mess, all right?
Tennessee, Arkansas this weekend. We do know that.
We do know that.
And we do know it's a 4:15 kickoff Eastern time at Neyland Stadium, and we also know it's a 1:30 airtime Eastern time on the Vol Radio Network. Looking forward to seeing that and having all of you join us for that. The general manager of the Vol Radio Network is Brandon Parks. Our executive director is Glenn Thaxton. Director of Business Development, Josh Payrow. Special advisor, Steve Early. Account executives, Chuck Arnold, Kevin Ashmos, Ben Bates, Nick Bell, Savannah Chalfont, Brandon Lane, Jessica Leifheit, Spencer Rudder, Chris Wagner, Technical Director Tim Berry, Network Engineer Jay Leifert, Network Producer Eli Davis, Associate Director of VFL Films Ashley Farrell and Travis Dean, and our Director of Radio Projects is Larry Stone. For Brent Hubbs, I'm Mike Keith. Thanks so much for joining us. A lot more to come this week as we get you ready for Saturday on the Vol Network.
Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
Rewind one more time to this weekend's action. Catch the podcast at utsports.com. Big Orange Rewind. We are the Vol Network.